Hello my dear friends and welcome to my channel. My name is Barbara and today we're going to be looking at your 7th house ruler and what that means in terms of your marriage partner, how you guys might meet, what types of dynamics you guys might have. So that's going to be at the end of the video because there's so much to say in terms of your 7th house. This was a subscriber request. So if any of you guys have any additional requests, you guys can always let me know in the comments below and I will add them to my list. So first of all, what I want to mention is that your 7th house is called your descendant. This is in Western tropical astrology. So everyone has a descendant sign. That's going to be your 7th house. Now in this particular sign, it's going to tell you what types of people you guys are going to attract, what types of shadows these people might bring out in you, and what types of things you might have to integrate within yourself in order to have successful relationships overall. This is going to be friends, interpersonal, romantic relationships. It can even apply to your marriage. So I'm going to add a link to that series in the description box below because I've already recorded those videos. Now, another thing that I do want to mention also is that the 8th house in astrology can tell you guys what types of things might be activated for you after marriage. This is going to be anything to do with long-term commitment, common law marriage. This is really what it is. It has to be a more serious, longer committed dynamic for these things in the 8th house to be activated for you guys. So if you're interested in learning more about that, I'm going to add a link to that video in the description box below as well. Now, first, what I'm going to be going over in this video is when you have a certain planet in the 7th house and what that means is going to be very, very brief, just scratching the surface. And then we're going to go over your 7th house rulers and what house those are in and what that means as well. Now, one more thing that I do want to mention before I get into everything is that if you guys are looking at a second marriage or a third marriage, in that situation, you guys want to look at for the second marriage, it's going to be your 9th house ruler. In the third marriage, it's going to be your 11th house ruler. In the 4th marriage, it's going to be your 1st house ruler. 5th marriage, 3rd house ruler. I'm sure you guys catch the drift of how it works, the pattern. So that's really what you guys are going to be looking at. But keeping in mind that the 7th house ruler is always going to be the basis of your relationships and even your marriage. Even if you're in a second marriage, you still have the things you learned from your first marriage and you're applying it maybe in a different way, but now you're going to be looking at, let's say, that 9th house ruler. So with all of that being said, let's go ahead and look at what certain planets mean in the 7th house. Let's say you guys have your sun in the 7th house. This partner is probably going to be more masculine energy leaning. Doesn't matter whether you're male or female. This person's probably going to have to be the one who takes over the show. They want to be the leader in the dynamic. They're probably going to be very even funny. They're probably going to be very much out of the box. They're going to want to be the ones that basically have the attention and the spotlight on them when you do have sun in the 7th house. Now, one important thing to mention here is sun in the 7th house could be ego struggles and ego battles, okay, with your partner. So there could be some sort of ego thing going on with your partner where it's like either you have to stroke their ego or they have a really big ego or there has to be a breakdown of the ego before you guys get together. There's always going to be something going on with the ego, some sort of ego battle, some sort of ego struggle if you do have the sun in the 7th house. If you have your moon in the 7th house, now this dynamic is going to be very much an emotional dynamic. You're going to need to have an emotional connection with your partners. Now, this can also go into the shadow of the moon where it's like there could even be an energy of emotional abuse happening in this dynamic or some sort of codependency going on with your partner. So keep this in mind. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen to everyone. It's just something to watch out for. And the more that we know ourselves and the better that we know ourselves, the more aware that we are, the easier it is actually to operate in relationships. But overall, the foundation here is that you guys are going to have some sort of emotional connection with all of your partners, whoever you guys are engaging with, if you have the moon in the 7th house. If you guys have your Mercury in the 7th house, this type of dynamic is going to have a foundation of communication. There's always a theme of communication that's really, really important for you guys. Now, Mercury in the 7th house can also deal with your intellect. So there needs to be some sort of intellectual connection with your partner or mental stimulation in this dynamic. Otherwise, you guys can get really quickly bored of your partners. You guys might even jump around from partner to partner if you do have Mercury in the 7th house. Because keep in mind, wherever we do have Mercury in our natal charts, it's the area that we're looking for that mental stimulation in. For you guys, it's going to be in the area of relationships. Now, because communication is going to be such a huge theme for you guys, there might be struggles with communication in your relationship as well, where you guys have to basically learn to communicate. So this is if you guys do have Mercury in the 7th house. If you have Mars in the 7th house, for you guys, the whole theme of your relationship is going to be conflict resolution. You guys are probably going to have highly passionate dynamics with individuals, but it could really quickly turn into dynamics where it's like you guys are basically either stirring up a fight or maybe your partner stirring up a fight. So you guys can basically have that explosion of energies and then in turn for it to turn into passion of some sort. So keep in mind when you guys do have Mars in the 7th house. Now, one more thing that I do want to mention also is Mars is ruled by Aries. So in this dynamic, there could be struggles with the ego with your partner. There could be some sort of selfish energy happening in this dynamic. And there could be an energy where it's like the partner wants everything to be their way. Now, another thing also that I want to mention is that this dynamic, your partner could be very masculine energy leaning. Keep in mind, it doesn't matter whether you're male or female. We all have these energies within us. But when you have Mars in the 7th, this person is going to want to be the leader of the dynamic. They're going to be the one who wants basically things to be their way. That's the thing with that Aries energy in there. If you have Venus in the 7th house, this is going to be a karmic placement for sure. There could be a lot of different love affairs. You guys could have a lot of different lovers. You guys could have your lover have a lot of different lovers. There's a lot of karma surrounding Venus in the 7th because it's like you guys are attracted to people who are attractive. And the thing is, those people most of the time are going to be attractive to other people. So it kind of really depends here what's happening with the rest of your natal chart. Let's say maybe you have more Scorpio energy going on in there. You might be very, very possessive. So this could be a huge like karmic thing that you guys have to work through. But that's the thing overall. When you do have Venus in the 7th house, you guys are going to basically attract very attractive partners. You guys are looking for attractive partners. You guys want to do like the finer things in life. You're very much going to be about the image. Most of the time, you guys might catch yourself saying things like, oh, like we would look really good together, like things like this. But it's karmic because it's Venusian, because that person is going to be attractive to a lot of other people. Now, I'm not saying that this is like a cheating placement or anything of that sort, because ultimately at the end of the day, cheating is a choice. It's just karmic in the sense where it's like you guys basically have to be okay with this energy. Now, one more thing that I do want to mention with Venus in the 7th is you guys are always going to be looking for the one. So that's the thing with this energy. It's like sometimes you guys might settle for partners because it's like, oh, you just want to be in a relationship where you're really, really looking for that one. So that's the thing. It's like this person might not be compatible for you. Or again, you might get blinded by like the energy of like, oh my gosh, this person's so good looking and we look so good together. But the thing really here is like, are you guys really compatible at the end of the day? So that's why this placement could be considered a karmic placement if you do have Venus in the 7th house. If you have Jupiter in the 7th house, this is going to be an area of expansion for you guys. A lot of the time, Jupiter in the 7th house can activate abundance through a relationship of any sort, but especially a marriage. So after you guys get married, it's expanding this area for you guys. So you guys might be the types of people when you're younger, you're really looking for that marriage partner, because probably on a higher self level, you guys know that after you guys do get into this unit with this person, that you're going to activate all these blessings. This is going to be an expansive placement for you guys. You guys are just going to expand. Even as an individual, you guys might expand. You guys might explore spirituality together. You guys might do higher education together, or just like start something new, like start different courses or travel. That's really all the things that Jupiter does deal with. So this is really if you do have Jupiter in the 7th house. Saturn in the 7th house. Now I could go on and on about this placement. I actually do have a video already uploaded for Saturn in the 7th house, but really quickly, Saturn in the 7th house, there's really good things about it, and then there's also its downfall. So Saturn is ruled by Capricorn. Because of the fact that it's ruled by Capricorn, you guys are automatically looking for traditional relationships, no BS in relationships. You guys want long-lasting relationships, so this placement is good for long-lasting relationships. Now, a lot of the time for people who do have Saturn in the 7th, the thing is, because they're constantly looking for this very serious relationship, you guys can get into this serious relationship at a young age, and by the time your Saturn return happens, there could be some sort of rocky energy where it's like you guys change, your partner changes, and you guys go through some sort of either divorce if you guys got married young, or separation or a breakup of some sort when you do have Saturn in the 7th. These types of people, Saturn in the 7th, also are the types of people who have friendships for a long time, childhood friends, like you guys are friends with people for a long period of time because you guys take relationships very, very seriously. And it's kind of like you guys just feel incomplete if you're not in a relationship of some sort. So with all of that being said, it's a very good placement for a long-term relationship, a relationship over a longer period of time, but you guys are going to have struggles until you guys do get there. And it's going to be something probably that happens later on in life, because Saturn restricts and it delays. I'm not trying to make people lose hope out there. It's just the nature of the planet. It restricts. It really restricts this area for you guys. So this is if you guys do have Saturn in the 7th house. If you have Uranus in the 7th house, this is going to be a very interesting placement. First of all, Uranus is all about sudden, abrupt changes. So in terms of your relationship, in terms of even your marriage, you guys might go through sudden, abrupt changes within this dynamic. For example, maybe one day a person comes home and they're like, I'm just not interested in this anymore. You're like, whoa, where did that come from? Sudden, abrupt change. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen to everyone. It's just an example of how abrupt the change can be. The thing is, when you have Uranus in the 7th house, you guys are probably going to be very much about unconventional relationships. Now, keep in mind, unconventional is anything that's deriving away from the norm. So currently the norm is monogamous relationships. So you guys might not be interested in having a long-term monogamous relationship. You guys might be interested in unconventional relationships or having other people involved in your marriage, or an open relationship or an open marriage, or maybe not even calling it a marriage. That's the thing when you have Uranus in the 7th. Now keep in mind, because it is unconventional, whenever something becomes a norm, Uranus goes in the opposite direction. So if the norm is, let's say, something like polyamory or having open relationships, you guys are going to want to do monogamous relationships. That's the thing when you have Uranus in the 7th house, you're going to just be different. It's anything that strays away from the status quo, really, when you have Uranus in the 7th house. If you have Neptune in the 7th house, very interesting placement, because I would say this is another karmic placement to have, because of the fact that, again, Neptune are illusions. Okay, it's that Piscean energy. So for whatever reason in your relationships, you guys just aren't going to see certain things clearly. There could be secrets in the relationships. There could be things that, again, just aren't being communicated to you guys. It's like you guys think it's one way, and then it's this way, and then it's that way, and it's just like there's a lot of confusion. It's illusions. That's the thing when you do have Neptune in the 7th house. Now, that being said, it's not like a doomsday type of energy, because Neptune in the 7th house can be very much spiritual relationships, very highly connected, past life people coming through as like a huge spiritual connection for you guys. So there's definitely a light side and a dark side to the sign, but overall, this is if you guys do have Neptune in the 7th house. Finally, for those of you who do have Pluto in the 7th house, honestly, bless you guys, I do have a video on Plutonian relationships, because for you guys, all of your relationships are going to be cathartic, changing, huge. Like, it's always going to be a big deal. There's always going to be some sort of karma involved with Pluto, because it's that scorpionic energy. It's always going to be like this and passionate, and you guys might feel like, you know, you have a really hard time getting over people, is really what it is, because it's Plutonian. That's the thing, you guys have that Plutonian energy in the 7th house. All of your relationships are going to be very much Plutonian. They're going to be intense. They're going to be transformative. You guys are going to go through a lot of changes, and it's like, when you guys know you have this energy, best thing to do is to not look at it in a negative light. Honestly, you just have to find a positive twist to it, where it's like, through relationships, you guys are changing. Through relationships, you guys are transforming. Through relationships, you guys are going through these huge and transformative, cathartic, really, experiences when you do have Pluto in the 7th house. Now, what I want to do is I want to explain how you guys can find your 7th house ruler in your natal chart, because everyone has a 7th house ruler. People think that their 7th house is empty and that it's doomsday and that they're not going to have a partner or a marriage or whatever it is. The thing is, we all have some sort of 7th house ruler. So I'll explain to you guys how you guys can find that. And then we're going to be going over the house rulers in the houses and what all of that means. So basically what you guys want to do to find your 7th house ruler is you guys want to look at your descendant sign, which is going to be your 7th house. It's going to be opposing your ascendant. So let's say your ascendant is in the sign of Aries. Automatically, your descendant, your 7th house, is going to be in the sign of Libra. In this situation, we're going to be looking at what planet rules Libra. So for you guys, it's going to be Venus. So your 7th house ruling planet is Venus. Now we're going to be looking in your natal chart. Where do you have the planet Venus? Do you have Venus in the 1st house? Do you have Venus in the 7th house? Do you have Venus in the 4th house? This is going to be your ruling house for the 7th house ruler. So let's say you guys have your Venus in the 4th house. Your 7th house ruler is going to be in the 4th house. So in this video, you guys are going to check out what the 7th house ruler in the 4th house means. Now, keep in mind, there's so many things to look out for when we're looking at these things. Like I mentioned earlier, this is a general video, but you guys always want to look at aspects. You guys want to look at transits. You guys want to see what's going on with the other planets to see basically how this energy can manifest for you guys. So let's go ahead and get started with the 7th house ruler in the 1st house. So for those of you who do have the 7th house ruler in the 1st house, basically the 1st house deals with the self. It deals with your identity. So in your marriage, your partner might have a huge impact on your identity. For example, let's say before you guys got married, maybe you guys were insecure and you guys just didn't feel confident. Now you guys attracted this confident partner, because the 1st house is going to be someone who's going to be very much confident, very much about the self. They're going to bring you guys into this energy. That's the thing. You guys are going to go through some sort of identity change when you guys do have the 7th house ruler in the 1st house. Now, another thing is you guys might operate as a unit together. The thing is with this energy, because whoever this person is that comes through for you with that 1st house energy, they're going to have that strong solar plexus, strong identity, strong core of who they truly are. I feel like you guys are going to more so merge with that person's energy. This person's probably going to have a lot of energy in the sense where it's like things have to go my way. They might be even selfish in the sense. So it's like you guys might find yourselves falling into this energy where it's like they're the leader in the dynamic. They're the ones. You guys are following their dreams. It's very, very masculine energy. It doesn't matter whether you're male or female. Important to keep this in mind. We all have these energies within us. So you guys are going to attract this type of partner, and together you guys might start a business because they're going to have the ideas. That's that 1st house. So you guys might start a business together. You guys might work towards something together. They might be very much initiating for you where it's like, okay, go do this. You start this. They might be encouraging in that way. Also, one more thing that I do want to mention for the 7th house ruler in the 1st house is that you guys might meet them when you're doing something for yourselves. So let's say you guys just got out of a breakup and you guys went off to do like eat, pray, love, and you're finding yourselves and you're like really focused on your identity and figuring out who you are. During this trip, for example, you guys might meet this person. That's something that could happen. Also, because the first house does deal with the physical body, you guys might meet them somewhere like the gym. That could be another way that this energy really manifests. Now, one more way, it could be like, let's say you guys are starting a new class, you're starting something new. You guys might meet them at this place. So these are a few different ways that the 7th house ruler can manifest in the 1st house. If you have your 7th house ruler in the 2nd house now, this is going to be all about money. Money is going to be a huge theme for you guys in relationships. Now, this can manifest so many different ways. It's really going to depend to see what's going on with all of the aspects, to see whether this is going to manifest positively or negatively. A positive way that this could manifest could be you guys get into a relationship and now all of a sudden you have a new job. You guys might start a new career. You might find new ways of creating money and finances and abundance. You feel more financially stable, maybe more financially secure. Your partner can bring through financial security into your life when you do have this placement. You guys can meet in areas of like a bank. Maybe it'll be your financial advisor. Maybe it'll be someone who works in the financial industry. Maybe this is what your partner does in terms of vocation. So these are a few ways that it can manifest in a very positive direction. You guys are living a life of luxury. You guys are building towards something together. Now, let's say it goes into like a more negative energy. It can be something like maybe one of you guys loses a job and the other one has to financially support the other person. There could be financial constraints on the relationship. I would say more so, let's say if you have Saturn aspecting this placement in any way, shape, or form. Even it could be something like, let's say you guys go through a divorce and it's a very expensive divorce, or you lose a lot of money in the divorce. But again, it can go in a positive direction. Maybe you guys gain a lot of money through the divorce as well, right? There's a lot of things to look at. But overall, the whole theme here for you guys is going to be money, financial security, financial stability, and your partner could bring these things through for you if it's in the positive sense. And the way that you guys can meet can be anything to do with money in one way, shape, or form. Maybe you're part of like an investment group and one of the people in there does investments and you guys meet each other through this. So this could be a few ways that the 7th house ruler in the 2nd house can manifest. If you have your 7th house ruler in the 3rd house, this marriage can manifest many different ways. We have to look at what the 3rd house really means. It's all about short distance travel, siblings. It deals with technology. It can deal with communication. So for you guys, the way you guys might meet your partner can really be in any of these realms. Maybe you guys work in tech, boom, you guys meet your partner. Maybe it's going to be through your siblings. Maybe it's going to be on a travel trip of some sort. Usually it does deal with short distance travel. So maybe you guys go locally for a business trip for like a weekend or something. And there you go, you guys meet maybe at a conference or something of this sort. It can also be through friends because that Gemini energy does deal with groups of people and friends. But alternatively, it can be things like marketing or PR. Maybe you guys work at a marketing firm. That's how you guys meet. Or maybe you guys, need a PR person or whatever it is in the sense of being your future spouse or marriage partner. It can really manifest a lot of different ways. For you guys in your marriage, communication is going to be a huge theme. So keep this in mind. It's going to be very important to you guys. You guys might have to actually work on communication when you guys do get married to this individual. If you do have your 7th house ruler in the 3rd house. If your 7th house ruler is in the 4th house, in this situation, the way that you guys might meet your marriage partner could be a lot of different ways, but it always revolves around family in one way, shape, or form. So it can be through your family. It can be through your family friends. It can be through your friends that you guys consider to be family. It could actually be someone coming to your home, like the mailman, for example. It could be an energy of this as well, where it's like you guys don't actually have to leave your house to meet your partner. Now, again, this can manifest a lot of different ways. It can even be through your phones. For example, you're in your home and you guys happen to meet this person. Or maybe you guys host a dinner party and your friend invites maybe an extended friend or whatever it is, someone that you guys don't know. Boom, there you go. You guys meet. This person came into your home for this dinner party and now you guys are dating and eventually you guys get married. Now, another thing with this placement, the 7th house ruler in the 4th house, is you guys might want to start a family right away. One of you guys might be interested in being a stay-at-home parent, or you guys might have children together and eventually then get married. There could be an energy of this as well. But there's going to be a huge focus on creating a home together. It could even be things like real estate. You guys purchase real estate together, or it can be like several real estate. Maybe you guys get into like commercial real estate or something of the sort after you guys do get married. So this is if you have your 7th house ruler in the 4th house. If you have your 7th house ruler in the 5th house, this is going to be a very fun placement to have. They do say that this is a very favorable placement for marriage and for people seeking marriage, because it's very fun. This is the thing, the 5th house deals with fun, spontaneity, deals with your love and your relationships and these types of things. So when you have the 7th house ruler in here, you guys are basically going to have a dynamic that's going to be fun, is going to be playful, it's going to be very much all about flirtation and keeping that spark alive for a long period of time. Now keep in mind that this is something very important in your relationship. So if things do start to die out, because it is that 5th house Leo energy, your partner or even yourself might look for that validation elsewhere. Similarly to the sun in the 7th house, the 5th house energy can struggle with the ego. They might struggle with needing ego validation and needing to have their ego stroked as well. So in your dynamic, just knowing these things, right? Knowing that this is important to your partner and basically giving them that energy that they're looking for, or vice versa. If this is happening for you guys as well, maybe letting your partners know this is something that's really important. Now, another thing that I do want to mention for this placement is you guys might meet when you're out somewhere, when you're having fun. It could be at a party of some sort. Or let's say you guys book like a spontaneous trip to go somewhere for the weekend. Boom, you guys meet. It's like when you guys are in that fun, playful, spontaneous energy, you guys might meet this individual. Now, keep in mind, because the fifth house does deal with the inner child, it also can deal with children overall as well. So maybe you guys are going to be like elementary school teachers and that's how you guys meet. Or maybe you guys have your own children and your children go to school together, something of this sort, and then you guys are parents, single parents, and then you guys meet. It could be something like this as well. So keep in mind, there's going to be a theme of children. It could either be like you guys want to have a lot of children together, or maybe you don't want to have any children, or maybe you guys already have children, or maybe you guys create like a blended family. The thing is, this energy can manifest so many ways, but overall it's going to be fun, playful. It's going to be very much that Leo energy. You could even have a partner that you guys are super proud of. You guys want to show them off. You guys feel like you guys look really good together. It could be an energy of this as well if you do have that 7th house ruler in the 5th house. If you have your 7th house ruler in the 6th house, now this energy can manifest a lot of different ways. It really does depend on the aspects and the transits and other planets and other things that are happening in your natal chart to really see what's actually going on here. This is going to go more so in the positive energy or in the negative energy, so it really depends. But let's start with the positive first. So the 6th house does deal with health, healing, and being of service. So you or your partner could be in these industries. Maybe this is how you guys meet. It could be someone who is in the health and healing industry. Keep in mind, health and healing, it really depends on the person's natal chart because this can go on a range. It can be things like doctors, nurses, physicians. It can even be things like Reiki healers or shamans. It really depends on the overall natal chart. But this could be a way that you guys meet your partner, or it can even be like the Florence Nightingale effect. I'm not sure if you guys know what that is, but it's kind of like the energy where it's like the nurse basically fell in love with the patients because she would like nurse them to health and this type of energy. So it could be something like this that takes place. If you guys do have that 7th house ruler in the 6th house together, you guys might be interested in helping the world and healing the world in one way, shape, or form. It could be things like soup kitchens for whatever reason. I always give that example for that 6th house energy. You guys really, really want to give back to your community. You guys want to work towards something together. So that could be a very positive energy. Now it could fall into the negative aspect of the sign where it's like in your relationship, there could be a lot of criticism. There could be an energy where it's like this marriage isn't living up to this vision or idea that you have of what marriage is, because it really is that Virgo energy, the 6th house. There could be issues around health in this dynamic. So again, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to apply to everyone. There's so many things going on in people's natal charts, but these are a few ways that this energy can manifest if you do have your 7th house ruler in the 6th house. If you have your 7th house ruler in the 7th house, this is another one of the placements that they do say is a very favorable placement to have, because you have your 7th house ruler in the house where it belongs to, which is the 7th house. The 7th house already deals with marriage. So it could really mean that your marriage is going to go smoothly, that you guys are going to be very much all about marriage and all about commitment, and that you guys are going to be very much marriage focused and marriage oriented if you do have this placement. A few ways that you guys can meet can be at 7th house energy types of things. So this is the Libran house. It could be at a museum. It could be maybe you guys are looking at art of some sort. Maybe you guys are like at a classical piano concert or whatever it is. Things like this. You're doing something Venusian. You're doing something beautiful. Maybe you guys are engaging in interior design and this is how you meet. Maybe it's like through your clients, in person, and boom, you guys meet. You guys are doing some sort of Venusian activity and you guys meet your partner. Alternatively, the 7th house does deal with the legal system and contracts. So this could be a way that you guys do meet as well. Maybe it's going to be your lawyer. Maybe your person is going to be a lawyer. They're going to work in the field of law. Maybe they're going to work in the field of interior design. Maybe they're going to work in the field of art. It really, really depends. But this is the thing if you do have this placement. Now, even though this is a favorable placement, keep in mind, there's always aspects, there's always transits that can change this energy for you guys. So this is really if you guys do have that 7th house ruler in the 7th house. If you have your 7th house ruler in the 8th house, this energy can go on such a huge range because the 8th house does deal with a lot of different things. It's that scorpionic energy. It deals with sex, death, transformation, rebirth, joint finances, taxes. It deals with astrology, things of the occult, things that are hidden, things that are secretive. So this energy can manifest a lot of different ways. Your dynamic can be highly transformative for you guys. You guys might go through a lot of changes. You guys are basically looking for that deep connection when you guys do have this placement. You guys are looking for that mind, body, spirit connection. That's the thing with the scorpionic energy. And in turn, because it's very difficult to find that, you guys might be very possessive of your partner. You guys might fall into the shadow of this. You guys might be very jealous of your partner or vice versa. You guys could even fall into energies of codependencies. Keep this in mind as well. But this is why astrology is really good, because if we're aware of what's going on in our natal charts, we can basically work on those energies within us. I truly, truly do believe that. So if you guys are aware that you guys might have addictions, or you guys might be addicted even in the relationship to the person or to the dynamic or whatever it is, working on this energy, understanding that, you know, this person is still going to be around doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to leave you, because that's the thing, like, that's a scorpionic energy. They do fear betrayal. So you guys could quickly fall into the shadow of even manipulation or emotional manipulation or anything of the sort. So just keeping these things in mind. If you do have this placement, you guys can always check out my 8th house energy in-depth video. I'll add that somewhere in the description box below as well, where you guys can really learn to master this energy so you don't fall into the shadow aspects, because this energy can be very beautiful. It can be very transformative, and eventually you guys can go through huge transformations on a soul level through your marriage partnership if you guys do have this placement. Now, a few ways that you guys could meet your partner could be anything that's scorpionic. Like, keep in mind, Scorpio in the shadow deals with the lower levels of society. It can deal with things like gambling. It can deal with things like drug dealing. It can deal with things like sex work. Like, these could be ways that you guys do meet your partners, because again, it's fast money. So just keeping these things in mind. Alternatively, your person could be into astrology. Your person could be into things like esoteric topics or mysticism. Also, your person can even be into things like psychology. They could be someone who's a financial advisor, really, really working with other people's money. That could be something that takes place. And one more thing to mention also is this placement does deal with joint finances, debts, and it does deal with inheritance. So through this marriage, you guys might activate an inheritance of some sort, or you guys might take on a debt of some sort. It's very karmic, this placement. So this is if you guys have the 7th house ruler in the 8th house. If your 7th house ruler is in the 9th house, this placement deals with your higher mind, higher education, higher learning. It deals with foreign lands. It deals with travel. Sometimes it can deal with entrepreneurship. It really deals with freedom of some sort. It can also deal with philosophies and belief systems. So when you guys do have this placement, this energy can manifest a lot of different ways. Maybe you and your partner are going to have different religious backgrounds. Maybe you guys are going to have different cultural backgrounds. The thing is, it's going to be very important for you guys to have some sort of belief system where you guys are on the same page and you guys are evolving on a spiritual level. That's the whole thing with the Sagittarian energy. Sagittarius wants to evolve spiritually. They are the centaur, half up in the clouds, half on the earth plane. So in your marriage partnership, you guys are really, really looking for this energy where it's like you guys are going to be elevated into higher heights. You guys are going to be transcending some form of energy when you do have this placement. Now, this placement can mean you guys might meet in school while you guys are learning something. Maybe you're getting some sort of degree. Maybe you guys are getting some sort of certification. Maybe you're working at a school. Maybe you're teaching something and you guys meet. Maybe you guys are both teachers or professors and you guys meet. So that's really another way this energy can manifest. Alternatively, because it does deal with foreign lands, you guys can meet abroad. You guys can meet while traveling. You guys can meet this person in a different country. Maybe you guys might not even speak the same language. There could be an energy of this if you guys do have that 7th house ruler in the 9th house. Now, when you guys do eventually get into your partnership, travel is going to be a huge theme for you guys. It's going to be very important for you guys to have that spiritual connection where you guys just understand each other. And a lot of the time, this placement does last over a longer period of time if you do have that 7th house ruler in the 9th house. If you have your 7th house ruler in the 10th house, this particular placement does deal with your public image. It deals with your career. It deals with your status. So when you guys do get into this unit, into this partnership, first of all, you guys might meet through work. You guys might meet and then work towards something together. It's that Capricorn energy. Capricorn is all about being efficient. So it's kind of like when we meet, if we're not working toward the same goals together, there's no point in us being in this unit together. That's why a lot of the time you'll see that these people either work in the same sort of fields, or they're working towards something together, or they're both very accomplished and then they've gotten together. Now, when you guys do get married to this person, you guys might enhance your public image. Okay, you guys might elevate your public status in one way, shape, or form, your social status. This could also take place, and this relationship could be known to the public in one way, shape, or form when you guys do have that 7th house ruler in the 10th house. Now, how this energy manifests is going to be different for different people. It might just be in your town. The people know you might be in your city, or it can be on a grander scale. It really, really depends on the rest of your natal chart as well as your partners. But these are a few ways that that 7th house ruler in the 10th house energy can manifest. Next, we have the 7th house ruler in the 11th house. The 11th house is that Aquarius energy. So a few things to say here. Now, Aquarius is on a range. Aquarius can be very much unconventional, but they can also be traditional sometimes as well because they did used to be ruled by Saturn. So keep that in mind. The ultimate end goal for this placement is that you and your partner are working towards some sort of end goal together to basically better humanity. That's the thing. It's that humanitarian philanthropist placement. You guys aren't going to really be interested, or you're not even going to be engaged in a dynamic with a person who's surface level. You guys are going to want your partner, and the person you guys do attract is going to be someone you can bounce ideas off of each other. You guys are working towards something together, and it's always, again, for the betterment of humanity. That's really what this placement is. Now, the 11th house, it does deal with the internet. So you guys can meet on the internet. And it's the funniest thing because I've said in the past that, you know, these days everyone's on dating apps, but it's not necessarily in everyone's natal chart to meet on a dating app. But this particular placement would be favorable for you to meet your partner on a dating app or even a social media platform of some sort. It could be through the internet that you guys do meet, or you guys work on the internet. It could be videos like this. Maybe you guys do a couple videos where you guys are sharing ideas and your ideas about the future and how you guys can basically help humanity evolve in one way, shape, or form. You guys could even meet at something like a tech startup, for example, if you guys do have this placement where it's kind of like you're both working again on some sort of app or whatever it is. You guys are connecting people together, some sort of technology that again is going to connect people together and propel the collective forward. This could be another way that you guys meet if you do have your 7th house ruler in the 11th house. Finally, the 7th house ruler in the 12th house. Another karmic placement to have. Now again, people always freak out when they hear karma, they think it's bad. Just keep in mind, it's something that's usually a balancing of energies, and it's karmic in the sense where it's like you guys either made a vow in a previous life to get together in this lifetime, to be together, to work through something together, or you guys didn't work out in a past life and now you're meeting in this lifetime where it's like for whatever reason the circumstances are aligning for you guys to work out. So karma can go both positive and negative. Sometimes though, because the 12th house does deal with past life enemies, your marriage partner can come through as someone who was a past life enemy, and in this lifetime they're coming through as your marriage partner. You guys feel this huge connection to them, but it's like it's a past life connection, and most of the time unfortunately it is some sort of past life enemy coming through as a lover. But again, keep in mind, this can manifest so many different ways. It doesn't necessarily just have to be the negative. I'm kind of getting that out of the way first. Another thing also is like it's a very secretive placement, because that's the thing, the 12th house deals with things that are hidden. It's the unseen realms. So as much of a connection you guys might have where it's like, oh my gosh, like it's this unseen connection and people just don't understand why we're together. It can also quickly go into the shadow where it's like either you're hiding your partner or they're hiding you, or there's like secrets in the relationship where there's things you're not seeing clearly, or it's like, you know, they say things to you where it's like, oh, blah, 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 this, but you're like, oh, but you never told me that. It could really be illusions. That's the whole thing with this energy, because it's like the 7th house energy is looking for a marriage partner. They want the one, they want a person that they can be with. The 12th house is secrets, it's hidden. So it could be this. Now, on a more positive note, the thing is with this connection, it can be a highly spiritual connection. It can really help you guys progress in your spiritual evolution. It can also help you guys bring through maybe even ideas or manifestations or visions that you guys have. Maybe when you guys get married, even more of your psychic gifts are going to come online. That's the thing if you do have this placement, because the 12th house does deal with the psychic and hidden realms. So it could be hidden energy in a sense where it's like you're seeing things that maybe you weren't able to see before. Now, one more thing that I do want to mention in terms of where you might meet this person, because the 12th house does deal with isolation, things that are hidden, it deals with institution, things like jails, hospitals, very much enclosed spaces. You guys can meet in an area like this, or your person might work in this area. Another thing that I'm seeing psychically, it could be something like the elevator breaks down. You guys are in an enclosed space, it's just you two. And through this whole experience of you guys being stuck in this elevator together, you guys fall in love. That's the whole thing here. The 12th house also romanticizes. So you guys might struggle with this in your relationships because it does bounce off of that 6th house energy where it's like you guys have this romantic view and this like maybe meet cute that you guys want, like the elevator scene that I told you guys about. It could be this whole like dream that you guys have for your marriage, and unfortunately it might not live up to that because things on the earth plane most of the time don't live up to the visions that we have, because the visions that we have are super high vibrational. So there could be an energy of this where it's like you feel disappointed constantly in your marriage or in your partner or whatever it is because it's not living up to this romanticization. You guys might romanticize this area a lot. So my friends, I'm going to wrap up this video here. I do hope you guys did enjoy my video on some ways that you guys might meet your partner, what type of partner you guys might have, and what the 7th house means overall. If you did, please do like, share, and subscribe, and I hope you all have a beautiful rest of the day.